Hi guys, we are back for episode 30 in the Vanilla Main Series 0.17 map. It's been several episodes since we've been here, so I'm finally looking forward to beginning to install my new science builds. Wow, it has really felt like forever since I've been playing on this map. In fact, as of this recording, which is June 7th, there's been a decently impactful patch that's come out that I want to talk about real quick. So the Defender capsules now no longer take the robot frames, which I think a lot of you will be really excited about, but I'm actually kind of annoyed by it because it just seems to make sense that robot frames would go into these. I mean, they seem to go kind of hand in hand, but now they no longer require robot frames as a recipe. So that means this whole portion of my armory build now is kind of going to waste. So I do have to figure out a plan B of how to either repurpose this or get rid of it altogether, but I'm just kind of irritated because I really like this build and now it's partly not working. What I'm debating doing is actually turning this whole portion of the factory into my robot construction build area, because I don't actually have a factory devoted to building either construction or logistic bots yet in this portion of the base. So I'm thinking maybe we'll get rid of like this robot frame assembler here, and we'll just put like a logistics assembler at the top and a construction assembler at the bottom and divvy it up that way or something. But that'll be a little bit down the line. I still have to rip this up anyway just to make room for the belts to go from right to left so that this circle can go with cars on it to this opposite circle over here. So that will be eventually down the road. What I am most excited about is this circle, which is going to be the area where we put the new science builds. I do have to keep in mind that I'm going to have to put some labs down somewhere. But if you can imagine, like if we pretend these are labs, I'm thinking we can kind of do like we did with my mall type of thing and put labs going in a circle around here. We'll have the outputs of the science factories come in to a circle that will only go around in this little perimeter over here, or circumference or whatever. So I'm thinking that's the plan. We'll just have cars traveling in a constant circle only around these labs. But I think before we get to this project, let's start with the main projects, which will be installing and placing all of the sciences. So I do have, let's see, where did I put that book? Here is my 2-pack-a-second blueprint book. This is also available now on Reddit, so if you guys wanted to import the strings, you can do that. The link to the Reddit post where the blueprint strings are available is going to be linked in the description box down below. But I think we'll just start kind of like we did with the designing process by just laying out options for where these are going to go, and we're going to be starting with red science. Alright, so I've begun to clear out a couple trees that were in the way and place a couple different landmarks on here so I kind of know exactly where I want to place things. I know that I don't want to place anything between this wall and this belt line because this is where theoretically I could place robo bays and power poles and lights and things like that. And oh boy, what is getting attacked all the way over there? Shoot. Crap, let's place down some laser turrets right there. Give that power and hopefully that will be a short-term solution. But anyway, not that I plan on having that go on for too long, like last couple of episodes, however long ago that was a nightmare. But basically, my point being, I'm putting down some landmarks so that I know kind of how to judge where I want to be putting some things. So this is as far out as I should start planning on placing the factories. And looking at it here, it looks kind of small, like it's very dwarfed in this very big circle. But I think upper left quadrant here will be red and green science. We can put maybe military and blue in this one over here, purple and yellow over here something, and then we can put maybe some rocket silos or something like that eventually over here for space science. I don't think this will be our long-term science plan. I definitely want to get as close to at least 1,000 per minute as possible, but this is really just to get me up and running. So with that in mind, I need a plan on where red and green are going to go for starters. Ooh. How do I want to do this? This is always the tricky part because I can never make up my mind. I think I want the factory to be closer to the like circle portion, and then we'll just, that way I have plenty of room to plan on the labs and stuff like that instead of boxing myself in too close. Although I still have to keep in mind though, I need to have my belt pauses and stuff and some car unloading systems along the track here. Alright, I think on this axis that would be good. I think that should leave us plenty of room. Like I just said a second ago, this won't be the long-term solution for science. We can definitely play with it in the future. One thing I will have to worry about though is that if I place this factory below this point where the cars come in, I'm going to have to make sure that I have cars that can supply this factory with what it needs, which will be copper, plate, and iron gear wheels that will be coming up from this circle or this circle and feeding, you know, upwards. So I'll have to consider that for sure. Right now I only have one set of belts going from this upper right circle to the center circle. This section over here has an input and output track system, so I have to add another one over here. But I think that is a good start for red science. Now let's go ahead and place green, which is that one there. And I think, oh gosh, I really technically have room for like probably military in here as well. Maybe we'll do that just because once we get to blue science, that will be when it starts to take up a little bit more room. So we'll do red, green, and military all in this left upper quadrant instead. And we can put, oh, I don't know, around here, maybe? That should be plenty of room. That was military, and or that was green, and now this is military, which we can put up closer like this, maybe. And I think this should leave us plenty of room if we were to put it right there. Or up a little bit higher, right there. And something's in the way. Oh, this thing. Duh. And that sound, I think, means that... Oh! That stuff died on its own? What the heck happened there? Oh, boy. That is a problem. I'm trying to expand my robo coverage so it can get down here and I don't have to manually go down there and fix stuff. But they are breaching the wall, which I had going this way, so I need to go defend that here in just a minute, which I think I will actually do right now because at this point I'm just waiting for the bots to fill in the factories. I'm going to go do something similar with laying down the rest of the sciences, and then I will be back once it is time to start actually playing with getting the cars on the belts here and then getting the products to the factories. Okay, the last of the factories have been placed down, and I was actually able to squeeze all 3 of the other science factories into the right upper quadrant, so that way we can have all 6 of them in the upper hemisphere, which will save a lot of this room for expansion later on. And that means all we have left to do now is put in the belt pauses and then put in the actual labs so the labs have somewhere to go. So this will be more of the hard part at this point because we're going to have to figure out how to get all of our resources, which for the most part are getting distributed in this area over here and amongst these cars, somehow up here. So it's a matter of putting in some belt conditions, which I've actually ended up adding in that belt lane I was talking about a little bit earlier. With this filter here, I'm going to be using the burner miners, so we'll be able to recycle those from very early game to get used so that we can have some cars here with that burner miner filter go from here and then continue on upwards into the upper circle over here. And that looks like something I'm going to have to fix. And then I'm also still getting attacked over here, so that's another thing I have to fix. So let me do that real quick, and then I'll be back once we have fewer alerts going on to finally finish putting in the belt pauses and start getting some products to our new factories. Alright, belt pause time. I think I'm going to be smart and actually just copy some things I already have done. Not that this is a great setup, mind you, but at least it is something, and that is all that I am aiming for right now. Eventually, everything will get optimized. So let's go ahead and take a little blueprint of this, perhaps. Like so. And let me double check. Where do I even have this laid out? Okay. I think that may kind of semi-work. I think the belt pauses start. Oh, crap. I kind of don't have enough room. Where it's red, you can see that it overlaps with the walls, but I think this will semi-work if we make a couple changes. So we'll get rid of this stuff. And we'll just have to balance it a little bit differently. Not a humongous deal. We can do something like that, in fact. And good. That's already paused right there. We just have to add in a couple of the pieces. So if we connect it up like, that to that and that. Yep, it works. It blinked. All right, that's going to work out just fine for right now. We do have to change these recipes, though. So we just need copper plate and iron gear wheels for this factory. So we'll keep the copper plate there. Once those get installed, we will change those to iron gear wheels, rather. And then this actually can get deleted because I don't plan on having any of my labs outputting back onto the main car bus line. Instead, the labs are going to spit out and head more and more towards the center. So they'll all kind of just converge from the outer portions of this little base area into labs that will be over here. Speaking of which, let me go ahead and request the labs right now. I do have these produced, and I think in fact I have 50 in storage and crap. Where are they? Oh, there we go. Let's do 25. I actually don't know how many I will need. We'll just kind of wing it. So these belt pauses we can get rid of those. In fact, we can put those belt pauses up there. Man, it almost would have just been easier for me to do this from scratch. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. Let's delete that before it's too late. Grab my wire. Get rid of that. And we'll connect the wire like this. And that's too far, but we'll do like that. There we go. And dang, it's never ending biter problem. Eventually, I'll get a proper wall, but man, they are just attacking like crazy. Even more reason to get science up and running, because once we get science, I plan on making military definitely a priority to get those upgrades, which I think will help us out a ton. What do I need? I need these guys like that and like that. The white ones are the stack filters, yes. So we could actually upgrade. What? Can you not upgrade the purple ones? You would think the purple ones would automatically be... Huh. Interesting. Do I have that right? Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, that's okay. Let me request some of these. Let's do 20. Okay, and then boxes have like this, And then we can change these out. These are, again, the iron gear wheels right here. Like that, and like this for copper. We do have to figure out a way to join up the iron gear wheels and the copper plate. I don't think that should be too big of a problem. There we go. Join for this side. We'll do something similar right there as well for that half. And since this is so ugly, I think we're going to try and hide it a little bit. Even though I plan on making it all pretty eventually. There we go. That side should be done. We need to do something similar over here. And I should actually at least upgrade the belts. Like that. I know I don't have blue splitters yet, so I'm not going to upgrade those until we do get them eventually. There we go. And then I need power. Let's do a substation. Could do it right in the middle. Perfect, actually. Phew. Silence here for a minute. Thankfully, biter attacks have ceased a touch. These guys have been the biggest problem, actually, over here to the south. And I just don't... I'm running out of laser turrets. I can't build them quick enough to, like, resupply the stuff that's broken. Okay, good. Those are hooked in. There's a couple pieces that did not get upgraded here for some reason. Like that. And like that. There we go. Good enough for now. So I'm going to do similar stuff for these other factories throughout the base. You guys have seen it once, so I don't think you need to see it every single time. But then once all of the belt pauses are in, then we can actually start testing with some cars and some different filters and things like that, and then finish by putting in the labs. So bear with me. I'll be back in just a second. Well, as you can tell, all of the pauses have been put into all of the factories. It actually took me quite a bit longer than I expected just because it's so tedious getting all of these lined up how they're supposed to be. And even now, it's still not quite perfect because I know in some instances there's a couple inserters that can't quite reach the car. So either I'm going to have to change the positioning of the car on the belt line a little bit or change a little bit of the inserters. But the other thing I did in the meantime was actually place down and play with a couple different lab setups. So this is now what I have here installed, and uh-oh. Gosh, I'll have to address that here in just a minute. But before I get to that, just wanted to go over this real quick. A couple of the factories are turned on. Not that I intended for that to be the case, but red is slightly turned on. We still have yet to turn on the other ones though, really. But this is a cool lab configuration, I thought, but the idea here is that the cars will travel along this belt line going in a constant loop. The inserters will feed from the cars and then daisy chain the science packs into the subsequent labs nearby. I'm hoping this will be enough labs. In fact, it may be too many. There's only one way to really find out, and that is to turn on all of the science factories and get some cars on here and get to testing. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on the remaining science factories. Ooh, where's that? Oh, back there at the coal farming area. That should be okay. Like I said, parts of these are already turned on. We just have to hook in other parts of it. And sadly, I think I'm all out of the blue express belts for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why. I'll go investigate that sometime later. But that's now green signs turned on. And those will start to build up. I do want to put some caps on these, though, just for testing purposes. Whoops. That is too much. So we're going to copy-paste these. The idea with this here, though, apart from that the cars will be traveling along this little circle constantly, is the fact that here, kind of in this little section over here, there are a ton of pauses. So that way there is enough time for the cars to actually kind of stall a little bit and then pick up the science pack. And then basically they'll pick up the 3 over here on this side, the other 3 on this side, and still be able to continue along with its inventory down to these labs over here at the bottom. So there's the idea behind that. I'm hoping that we can keep up with the throughput of the cars so it's not slowed down too much by this pause over here and on the other side, but we'll know for sure once we actually get this turned on. So now we can hook in the other things. And I don't have a constant stream of cars over in this circle yet, and certainly I don't have all of the resources allocated quite yet from the proper circles with the inputs and materials, so that's something I'll still have to do. That's missing the piercing ammo, and piercing ammo is now getting built, so this will slowly start to turn on now. That will be military science. We can do the same thing for blue, purple, and yellow. We'll just connect up a couple different portions there and there. That is correct. That took me a minute to realize that. We're definitely lagging really behind on red circuits. There we go. And solid fuel actually is the other thing. We don't yet have light oil hooked in. That can be easily remedied. We've just got to get some pipes fitted over there, it looks like. And in fact, let's add a RoboPort to do that for me. Not that oh, there it is. There we go. I think that will cover it. So in just a minute, theoretically, the remaining pipes should get fit in and then the solid fuel should start working. What else do we have to hook in? Oh, these guys over here. This is for the yellow science. And over here for the lube, I have this currently set up that eventually, once we get the tech, we'll have requester chests where the lube barrels will come in. In the meantime, I just hand-fed a couple barrels into this, although the other option would be to bring some pipe of lube all the way over here, but I'm a little lazy right now, so we'll forego that for now. This is how we're going to be having the blue circuits and the low-density structures meet up. Hopefully that will be enough throughput and compression for all of those things, but it'll take a minute, I think, for yellow science to get working, just because we're missing some of the materials, namely the low-density structures, and that's because I don't have cars coming over to the circle that also happen to pick up the low-density structures. This is for the purple science now, so we can hook up the remaining sections over here. There we go, and hopefully I have enough lanes of everything. If we need to, like, change up and make it, like, 2 full lanes of these materials, I can do that down the road, but let's just test it first, and then make changes from there if needed. So I think that is now everything semi-hooked in. Again, I still have to correct some of the car allocations so that they make the pit stops that they need to, but let's put caps on these guys too, just in case. And then let's put some cars on. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing a couple cars. And let's do like one of each. Let's do green, military, blue, purple, yellow. We don't have white yet, but sure. And then let's put something random in here like, let's put landmines. Sounds good. Okay, these all have filters in them now, and this is just for testing purposes, although let me double check. I'm not 100% sure that the wiring is good to go. Or is it? No, I'm glad I checked. Here, it's supposed to be actually hooked in over here. There we go. So now the pauses over at the lab lane should work properly. This is not working properly because I'm actually not even sure how this section got materials to begin with, because I don't have a car that regularly makes a full rotation. In fact, these ones, it looks like, are stuck over here. That's some more troubleshooting I'm going to have to do before this will be a true success. So maybe I should do that now, and then we'll send these cars on their way. All right, the cars look like they're semi-fixed for now. Again, none of these cars that are in this circle rotation at the moment have any low-density structures on them, so it'll actually be a second before we see yellow signs up and running. How are the pipes that we needed for the light oil? Are they... Oh, good. They've been installed. Let me double-check that solid fuel might be working. Yes, it is. Solid fuel is working indeed. That goes all the way down there. And it joins up over here, theoretically. It looks like it's kind of semi getting spit out. There's no red circuits on this side, although we do have a couple on this side there. Now, theoretically, that most of the sciences are now turned on, we can go ahead and just hook this up now for testing purposes, just to make sure that this actually works as intended, which it kind of is so far. Gosh, I still have to respond to that. I know. I'm so bad about that. So what I plan on doing is let's just take a look at this, make sure it theoretically works, which it looks like it does in theory. The daisy chaining between the labs is working properly, at least. They're getting all the way to the end with the limited labs that it does have in its inventory, which is good. Is it picking up red? It is. It didn't really work here, though. It's like this guy can't reach. Oh. What if we do that? Let's try that. Huh. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to fix something along with that. Maybe the cars just aren't correctly placed onto the belts. But I think at this point, let me go ahead and add a couple cars into rotation that actually do have all of the resources. Then we can for sure check and see how it does with all of the sciences. Finally, the research is done, and I'm super thrilled about this because I've finished researching the remaining logistic boxes that I didn't have available at the time. So now I can make full use of requester boxes, buffer chests, and active provider boxes, which you can see are now available right here for me to build. So that means there are going to be a couple improvements to the base overall. So now I can change this lube setup that I have going on. Where is it? Over here. These will start to get requester boxes built and active providers right here, so that way they can actually start requesting and getting rid of barrels, and then I don't have to pipe it all the way. The other notable improvements will be, oh, wrong circle, that we're going to be able to change a lot of these passive provider boxes to buffer boxes, and I think that will be a good thing because it will also help to store some overflow, although I haven't tested that out for sure, but that's something I'm going to be playing with. Here's some buffer chests that will be going in there. So I'm just overall really excited. It'll also help for recycling items. So a lot of stuff that's in storage that really shouldn't be there can start to get filtered out and put into requester boxes so that they can feed those items into machines or, you know, places of the belts that it would be ideal for them to go. So with this done, I'm going to call this a partial success. And I say partial because I technically have all of my 6 science factories now up and running. It's certainly not very efficient. You can see most of my science packs are just like barely trickling in. And that is more of a problem related to my throughput of my supplies. So as you can see, I've got, whoops, a little bit of a traffic jam here that I need to fix that I just now realized. So that's contributing to the problem, of course. The other thing is that I need to change how I'm divvying up the cars. So make it a little bit more efficient for the direct routes that the cars are taking. Instead of having them go between all 3 circles as an example, just having them go in between 2 circles, maybe that would help a little bit. But the other thing is I need to increase my copper. So checking out the copper lines, they're just kind of not great with the production right now. That's partly related to a farming issue, so I have tapped in now, if you follow this line further down to the right, into this copper patch over here. I'm missing some belts, or at least when I was over here, I was missing belts to finish it, so I've got to finish that, and hopefully that will increase my copper ore throughput, and therefore increase copper plate production and increase production of everything else. So those are some off-camera things I plan on fixing, but in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and end it here, but don't forget that you guys can check out previous Factorio 0.17 episodes if you've missed them, and you can also check out the new Sims series, which is really fun. Regardless, I'll plan on seeing you guys in about a week for episode 31.